Good afternoon, you guys. This is Rick down here in sunny Key West. It's absolutely beautiful day. Things are going well. I have art classes tonight. I'm about ready to start work on them, but I thought I would fart around with you guys first. All right. As to Nahum, really do need to do some kind of a short buzz. I went over the story. There was a lot of hemming and hawing, but let me tell you, if you went and found this and read this, it'd be done and over with like this. I should have just turned it on and we listened to it. I get to do one of those reaction to videos with it. Something to think about in the future. But there's something about me writing them down. Once I write them down, it's like, I don't need to, maybe, I don't know. But when I do, it becomes a little clearer for me. And this whole, this basically most of the Old Testament is talking about certain people getting to know the knowledge. It's like these leaders every now and then the leaders would fall away from it. I'm not so. I'm the. I'm already getting into this spot now. What happens is that there is none of these people ever lived. None of this ever happened in life. But what it's talking about is the mind itself. Let's say that you were just born somewhere, but anywhere on earth, this information is found inside their religion. No matter where you go, it's there. Unless you're with Islam or something, and their only grace is that they share the Old Testament. Okay. Other than that, there's no salvation offered in these things. There's a secret. The secret is not found. If you were born in the Hopis, it's in there. If you were born with an Egyptian a long time ago, this information is in there. It's in the Book of the Dead. All that business about the underworld is not about being dead. It's about being in this place of limbo when we go under and see the Lord. At one time, everyone was connected. The brain was connected together. But during this day, during this time period, it's had to go into some hiding, the knowledge that is, but it becomes more of, a hunt for this higher conscious that it's probably, perhaps it's just not going to be appreciated if it just falls uh, in your lap, so to speak, without any trials or tribulation in your life. It would be as if, you don't care or would respect it or nothing. And that's what I'm getting out of this. But, to be from Nineveh, to be Solomon, you know, you're all of these people, you're Jesus, all right. You are also this Nahum guy, and you're a Ninevite, and the Ninevite is probably what was called once something other than a Jew, all right, because that's just how these stories work. Because they tell you, you don't have to be circumcised, physically circumcised. This shows up in Romans. You don't have to be physically circumcised, and still do the law. You can be physically uncircumcised and still fulfill the law. All right, it's really hard on someone that's dyslexic as me to work a line of duality such as this. All right, so give me some kind of break on some of these things. But our number system that we are working with is pretty simple, and we basically, it's the 1, 2, 3 theory. Or the theory, it's a 1, 2, 3 number system where 1 is God, 2 is God's creation, and 3 would wind up being God and His creation together. But it doesn't always happen like that. In the Old Testament, it's very sure, almost every one of those stories that we've uncovered and read, even Solomon, the Song of Solomon, he never hooked up with this gal. Even though he would represent this, he was once, connected when his mother, gave him this ring, but he was single. He was just, he belonged to someone else. But later on, he lost his energy to this lower side. And of course, this is where we get this Lady Sheba from. All right, she is the queen of the south. She is the outside. All right, queen means and south meaning outside, and queen. All of this is, having to do with, that's the lilies of the field. She's the bitch. You know, she's the whore on the street. She's the one that goes on the corners and stuff like that. And these are these streets that are on the outside world. You're considered country and city on the outside. There also, the streets are broad streets. So, in this story, you're hearing that what is a chariot? A chariot is something that's a messenger. This is the one that, like Mercury. Mercury is a messenger. And without a messenger, you lose contact with God, all right, with the gods. And so you no longer have that vehicle to go any place. And so this is really just taking away the vehicle, is all this is. And because, you have stumbled and got onto something that is greater than, because look, now there is something greater than Solomon, all right? And that would be Sheba, the outside queen, all right, the queen of the south. And it would be the same way with Jonah, when they talk about the men of Nineveh going to stand up. Stand up has to do with, we are going to judge. That's what it means. We are going under in a meditation phase to change ourselves and to put ourselves through this judgment. Who of you guys can just stand up before the Lord? This is always the sixth chakra in the works. All right. So this is you coming to judge yourself. All right. The men of Nineveh are going to be there, and he's going to judge these. He's going to stand up and judge this, judge them as being evil and wicked, and that they had taken away his very livelihood, which is the personal connection to God. And it means that we are now seeking it on the outside. Well, it looked as though this Bible, for at least the time of the Old Testament, was talking about a paradise lost. God has left the building, And so if they're going to sit around and try to burn things and slap blood all over the place and pretend to be Jewish, to be these people, to be a Nazarene, let your hair grow and stuff like that. They're only catching on to the outside concepts of this, and that's what they call the letter. And of course, to talk about the letter is what you see. And so what you see then is meaning that you are sowing your seeds by the waysides, because this has everything to do with sowing that seed inside of you. That once you recognize what the story is all about, and that there is somewhere inside of you that you're supposed to wind up, there's your fertile ground for you to plant something in. But if you plant it on the outside, it's not. And they're going to devour you. That's what they talk about. That's what this story, this three little thing is about. So not all the time does 1 and 2 come together and make 3. This one here comes out and says, no. No. All right. So here we are. In chapter 2, it comes out as, the chariots shall rage in the streets. They shall jostle up against one another in the Broadways. They shall seem like torches, and they shall run like lightnings. All right. So it's likes. They're going to look like, they're going to be like, but they ain't going to be. All right. This idea of Broadways, this is, when they're walking down the street with Jesus, this, and look at these marvelous temples. And it's, marvel not in none of them. This is not where my Father dwells. Okay. And it's just wanting to do this here. It says, number 5, he said, this is these people that are going to follow this. It goes, number 5 represents the brethren, the 5 the body, and it says he shall stumble in his walk. They shall be made haste to the wall thereof, and and there'll be some kind of a defense put up there. What it's saying is, it's just there's going to be you're going to be wishing to get to the wall. What that wall means is death. All right, you'll be wishing for death, but you're just not going to get it. And there's other parts of the stories in the Bible that talk about people will be wanting to die and they can't. All right, so this information very well could have been made and made knowledge of, but you know. Um, Maybe they were made too busy. Things happened in their lives. I don't know what would have been the reason why, but the idea is that, for some reason, which is basically an outside reason, has crept in and taken this other side into captivity. And that's how we've known it, that Israel was taken over a bunch of times, and sacked and things like that, and they've taken the precious things from them, and this is being, in captivity and scattered abroad. But we know that the idea of being scattered is actually when things get clean. This is that smiting, and while we are separate from God, this is being broken in pieces, that we are scattered. And it's not just the Jewish people, it's Jews. Anyone who really wanted to be in this place, we're cut off for some reason. But what I'm saying is it may have been a planned time when, just so that all this information could make it through. It's in the book of Enoch, and they say it's not for this generation. This is for the future. This is for the end times. All right. And of course, we know the end times, it's just when you've had enough and you've gone and found this way, you planted your seed and you killed yourself. Now you're reborn and you're alive and well, and you're pushing light and you're pushing knowledge, and you're trying to help the rest of the world gain some kind of balance. And that's it. All right. This wonderful little thing about the canker worm at the end is just really wild. But look here. See, the first phase of this, the first chapter of this, is God rebuking the sea. All right. So if you remember that what we have is the water and we have land. Land represents the left side of the brain, and water represents the truth. So you're wiping out all the truth. All right. It's making it dry, making the land dry, making the water disappear. And it just means, just like they said, when you're on this other side, you're never going to quench your thirst, and you're never going to get any rest. You're not going to be saved. You're never going to get any salvation from this other side. And when you do come, when it says, there's going to be someone there, too bad. This is the way you want it. That's the way you want it. You got it. The side's blocked. But if you read carefully, when Jesus is talking to the last people at the Last Supper, and they ask, when will we meet again? This is his apostles, okay? And he tells them, the end of the age, when you come across a guy carrying a pitcher of water, once you enter in this house, go up into the upstairs room, and I'll be waiting for you. So perhaps, that just raised all the hairs on my arms when I said that, because perhaps there's some kind of a change, because things are cyclic and stuff like that. That, there was a time when things were separated, and this is the separation, what we just came through, and that now in this new age of Aquarius, that womb, that the idea that we can now get a better gear, another connect clearer to our maker, whereas something was obstructing it. Even, in some kind of metaphysical way, that, even if you knew the way, you weren't going to be able to go over to that other side. I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. Because it seems like, like they say, I didn't know anything about this before. In fact, religion makes it a little scary. makes this illegal, and it also makes it demonic. And that's what has captured a lot of people, was we have how they have centered around this energy, the snake energy, and the even the image of the snake as being evil. It's just a shame, just a shame. So, oh my God, serpent energy. It's just amazing. It even shows that our world is cyclic and everything, revolves and comes around. Whereas things that are made in a linear form, it's just not, just there isn't. That's not how it works. All right. And we learned that through our symbolism and this information. When there was nothing and then there was something with the two, that's the movement. And then when the three are mixed together, or when the three aren't mixed together. So it just creates this wonderful world of not just illusion, but, this theater that we all live and thrive in. It's for our souls. All right. But it looked as if that different planets have had control over things. And if you remembered anything about cosmology, and what happens is that Gaia, Earth, and Uranus is they were husband and wife at one time, and their children. One of the children happens to be Saturn. And Saturn is the child or the son of these two. All right. So think about that. That Saturn would wind up being the messenger in some situation, right? Because that's a metaphysical thing. And the child is usually we don't know if he's the firstborn or what, but I don't know. But he comes in and he castrates his father. And all of these guys, all these stories have someone being their penis being cut off. All right. And then someone's got to go and put all the pieces back together again. They find everything except that damn penis. A fish ate it. All right. It's funny that a fish eats it. Fish is the truth. So when the fish eats the penis, that's the higher conscious eating the lower conscious. All right. And the lower conscious is no longer to be found. It's in a fish's belly. Right. Just like Jonah. So we're supposed to have learned out of these stories is that, God doesn't kill things with a sword. It doesn't come out. There's no blood or anything drawn or anything like that. We're supposed to recognize that when we repent, we return inside. We're doing the opposite from being outside with our backs towards the temple. We have turned our attention towards the temple and towards inside. That's what it means to repent. So, this is these people that I listened to Jonah, but now there's something greater than Jonah about. All right. So religion just came over and whoops, took them all. But, she was beautiful and all this, but she built the world. She takes from you. She eats from you. She steals from you. She's made you not just a widow. She's made you spiritually dead, and she continues to rob your house blind. So here's where you get your desolation and all that mess, and and the story says, go ahead, take the spoils of the silver, take the gold. There's nothing left. It's gone. So this is what they've been doing. This is what they've been doing for centuries on earth here, is following the Bible and going into the promised lands of other people's worlds and their countries and their worlds that had kept their own little things going on, hoarding their gold and stealing and plundering from them, killing everybody and moving on. It's just, this is why the top of the scripture kills, all right? It's the physical. It's only what people can see. They don't understand that they're talking about a wave, and that us being born in sin is really being born into beta conscious, that this is really just where physical elements take on them from a vibration into a physical form and stuff like that. This is what it means to know God. This is what it means to know yourself, is to understand how you work, and how you go, you can't be some booger picking moron, maybe you could, but the idea is that, it's just it's knowledge, blind faith isn't knowledge, but it will get you hooked up to the system where you learn how to fear God, but to question God, but it'll make you want to bind him. When you get away from the crowd. Remember, the crowd killed them, and they're persuaded by, the powers that be and religion. Kill Jesus, kill him, just kill him outright. We'll celebrate his dead body, and we'll celebrate our dead bodies. That's how it works. And everyone's just one happy dead family here on earth, as we consume Mother Earth and tear it apart, for our own good. That's it. Instead of learning how to live with Earth, with her, and in moderate ways, and, saving things that won't pollute, hurt the place. And it's it's not. It should be easy to understand that the whole point of the Bible is to hook you up to the inside or the outside, knowing very well that both sides are this God. But there is a place to go to, that there is a destination, and that destination is showing up at everyone. Will eventually make it over the sixth rung on that ladder. That everyone's doing it. That in some way, shape, or form, everyone has pretty much, signed their life over to this particular place, and that as long as that other side keeps your attention, then you're hooked, line and sinker. Look at how stupid everyone is, with this. It just seems like it's just getting stupider. And I relate to everything to do with the Mandela effect as being something that's a little less intelligent. The changes that we find in our Bibles and in other places bring a derogatory or a lesser meaning to things. The life is like a box of chocolates. Life was like a box of chocolates. So, it's the water half empty type of thing, or is it half full? So it's a not so optimistic world that things are changing into. So to me, the world is slipping into even further, deeper into beta conscious, if that were possible. But anyways, the science is all there. So learn that what it means to the 40 days that you're going to be killed. In 40 days, I'm going to destroy you. In 40 days, 40 is representing the number 4, and 4 is representing worlds. So here's what I tried to tell you yesterday was what the world was: is someone with where nothing is working, and this is the lineup of their mind. This is what it means. And the way that this works is that there's 4. There's north, east, south, and west. But we're gonna go more like from the west, which is going to be our left hand. All right, this left side of us is going to be, that's the intellect side. That's the smarts, and it's also black. The earth itself turns like this. So what happens is that it's the black that always encroaches. It's the night always encroaching on the light. But then in the morning, it's the light that encroaches over into the dark. So they all get their change over. Everyone gets their thing. But initially, the idea is that black overcomes the white. All right, which is the darkness overcoming the light. All right, so darkness is the black horse, is the intellect of you, the mind that says, yeah, this is real, or this doesn't make any sense. So this is where the religion or the atheists would come out of, these people that are in belief or non-belief of this. All right, from a supernatural, from their eyeball point of view, because this is your conscious. This is when you're alive and awake. All right. And so what happens is then we have our emotional side, which is usually this is the female energy, and she's the one that usually says, "Haven't you had enough?" This is where your emotions come in. This is the Red Sea, and it's churning when all this is happening, and you're ready to change. This is when you're going to the promised land. This is the emotions coming in. You have to cross them. All right. The solid part of us is the body. All right, the physical side of us is the south, and this is the brethren. This is the men on the horses. This is what's going on. This is the physical side of us, and it has to be in tune as well All right. A lot of times in this, we become like, like some kind of a package getting ready to get cooked and eaten. We have a little dough in our mouth in this particular place, and then the east, the right side of our brain, the right side is the destination for our spiritual. All right, it's there all the time. But is your spiritual side? This is supposedly the white side. This is if it's working correctly and you're connected to God. But if not, it's black. And this is what the stories told us in the last one with this woman with Solomon. All right, was it Solomon or was it this other? The woman was black. Oh, I think it was the woman. I think it had to do with Samson's girlfriend. Don't mind me because I am black. Remember that? It's not a black woman. It's because she is black. She's representing the intellectual side. So anyway, she's the bad girl, anyways. Right? She's the hoe. So to change your mind, this is what it means when Jonah reluctantly goes over and tells the people of Nineveh, how to repent, give them God's word. This is how you do it. And they say, oh, so that's what we do. So the whole place overnight, you know, is changed over because they got the word from him, and he's really pissed off. Oh man, I was so looking for him to get wrath and shit, and all this stuff happened to him, But see, that happens inside the mind, and so you're never going to do this. It's like the rapture, it happens inside you. You're not going to grasp it. So these are things that you don't do, but you look on the outside. What happened? God said he was going to destroy him in 40 days. All right. So what do we get out of these guys? We get what's going to represent the outside world, which is the West, right? Uh, the noise of a whip, and I made that noise because you are, you're basically gone into being slave and all that stuff, and all that, all the lower things because you went on this. So, that's, and because they said it in 4, that's how you know. And this is number 2 representing you, in chapter 3 representing you're not connected. All right. So it says like the noise of the whip and the noise of rattling of wheels, which is the second one. All right. And that's how this works. It's going from the west to the north to the south and to the east, usually to the outside. Our bodies are being looked at as prancing horses. So you can see that, oh yeah, with our girl, oh yeah, because, you're being looked at and everything is, because they do everything outside. So it's prancing horses, and this is, they're all doing it for themselves. They're doing it to be seen doing this. This is what that means. You're going to go and have communion out in front of everyone. And he says, don't be like them. Don't do that. And you're paying in front of people. You're giving money out in front of people, and you're showing, I'm part of this. That's prancing around. All right, and look at this, the jumping of chariots. All right, there's no jumping. Just as it's an up and down movement. It's not getting anywhere. That you're just not getting anywhere. So the spiritual side of you is basically shut off, and whether you had the knowledge in there or not. But that's what it means to stand up. But this Queen of the South, the same story happens in the Solomon. Because someone greater than Jonah came up, and Jonah preached the word of God, and so this Queen of the South came on, listened to him, found that he's weakening and weakening, so she takes over from him. All right, she becomes this rich woman, but it's the same sort of things because she is the one of the South, the Queen of the South, and someone larger than or someone greater than Solomon shows up. But I think that's about it that I wanted to hit on. Is that I know what it was. In number 3 in this same thing, it says they lift up both of their hands in battle. All right, and what that means is that they take the God side, the spiritual side of them, and use it to kill things. And that's the most worst awful thing in the whole world, is to give them the impression that this beautiful side of this energy, God, which we are vacant of, uh, in the literal interpretation of the Bible, without her, without this she, without that her, it's the outside world that doesn't like these females, and they put them down. They're trying to bring them back up again, but they're bringing the power to this outside woman. That's not going to be the direction that they should be going in. All right, but it's a start, to recognize the female. But if she's going to turn around and be just as mean as everyone else, then she's the bitch in the street. But we got some time to watch her, you know. But anyways, I love you guys, I really do. And this is just another book that works with this system that we have of helping to understand what the Bible says itself. All right. So anyway, so this was about the works being taken away. You just don't have them. The works are gone in this book. All right. And as with its most all of the Old Testament showing that they don't have it. All right. And that with maybe some wonderful little telling from this Jesus story, is that perhaps now, during this day and age, now that Uranus has come back into control of this particular age that we are living in today, that now we can create that contact right directly to God again. It's like we found his penis, all right? Because that cuts off his direct love to the earth. You understand? And then he sets in. I'll take care over this, and he's the guy with the sickle. So, but we learned that, what is so cool about that sickle? He's sickling us. He's putting us through hell. And when he reaps us, when we get reaped, he's reaping us into heaven. Do you understand? It's a good thing. It really is. So it's really hard to understand nowadays, where we should put our cookies. But I will tell you that as soon as you get your cookies out of the oven, better, you know. And if you desire to cook more, enjoy the poverty. All right, you know, even if you don't feel it. All right. But anyways, take care of yourself. All right, and best to you. I can't get off this thing. There we are. There's the stop button. Adios.